to the other I might be back in time to do that show, but if you could start the system up. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. Me, 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 me. All right, testing, testing, testing. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another live stream here from the Staerkel Planetarium. Glad to have you here with us. I'm using a different setup than last week because I did manage to kill off a microphone, so I'm set up with things temporarily and in a different room. If you're visiting the planetarium anytime here in the next few weeks, things are kind of in flux. We've got some office furniture change happening, and it's taking a while. So there's a lot of stuff stored in different places. So that's why I've been trying to do things from the other room. So we'll see how this works out. What do you think of this background, the video background? That's Pretty neat, right? This loop that I've got of these glowy star things sort of flying out at us. Let me show you a little bit about that. Let's switch stuff over. What I did was I followed, let me go ahead and show you just the video without my face in the way. So this is a looping video. I made this in Blender using geometry nodes and then, of course, shader nodes for the shader. I used the EV renderer, and that means it rendered very quickly, but it also means that I can't make a fisheye version of it. And if any of what I just told you makes no sense whatsoever, that's okay. Because what I did was I followed a video tutorial, a 4 minute and 6 seconds video tutorial, and it was easy to follow, very step by step, with the ideas explained along the way. So let me switch us over to the YouTube page. This was the video. I'm definitely putting this, I've got this ready to paste into the notes below on this once the live stream is finished. And 4 minutes, 6 seconds, just absolutely brilliant. Just takes you through step by step, little arrows to show things as you're building it, zooming in just on the parts that you're working on at any given time, so easy to see even on a smaller screen. Just absolutely brilliant. I love the style of the tutorial. It's just nice and clean and very, very easy to follow. I have a hard time these days looking at screens for very long, and it didn't take very long at all. The only things that I did different in mine was let's see. Let me switch over. There we go. This is my blend file, and I followed the geometry nodes exactly as we went through the tutorial. Mine aren't quite arranged as pretty, but I think I might have gone with a different density for the number of points and some other things in the for the camera, for the rendering. I gave my camera a little bit of looping motion, and I can show that. There we go. I made a Bezier curve, and then I made the camera follow that curve. And here I'm just scrolling, I'm scrubbing through the timeline in the blend file, and you can see just the general shape there. And it went along with the looping from the tutorial. The other thing I did slightly different was the shading. There we go. I made a shader that used multicolors, but then I also made it so that I could switch over to just using 2 colors. And that way I could do, let me show this. Render, yay, view the render, because I pre-rendered this. So the first one here, that's the colors that I used in the background video as rendered. Although when I displayed it, I went ahead and I bumped the saturation on that to give it more fun color. The other example here was using the green and yellow of the Parkland College colors. And it was the same exact, just the same exact thing with the different material. And there you just see me going back and forth between the two. Let me show again. And I made it so that I just have one little slider bar to change between the two. So that's all that I did different from it. But I do recommend checking it. There we go. Let's bring back to it. Checking out the tutorial if you want to make the same thing. And blender.org to download Blender. It's free, open source. It's for Windows, Mac, Linux. Just great tutorial, and it's fun to play with, and it's only 4 minutes and 6 seconds long, and you just pause, back up as you need to. If you're not familiar with the user interface of Blender, if you are familiar with the user interface of Blender, then you don't really need to back up too much. But I love that it's so small and encapsulated like that, just a short time period. Okay, next thing I wanted to talk about was the here at the planetarium, we have our summer schedule going. So instead of Saturday night programs, we just have our Friday night programs, and we have the additional Tuesday and Thursday matinees. I ran the Friday programs last weekend. It was a lot of fun. We had Spring Prairie Skies, the last Spring Prairie Skies for the season, and Mayan Archaeoastronomy. Beautiful program. The stories, the color, it's incredibly it just fills the dome with so much presence that I'm still not tired of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful program. The matinee programs, the regular matinees we have on Tuesday afternoons. We have In My Backyard, followed by the Explorers of the Sun, Moon, Earth, Moon, and Sun, the coyote. It has a coyote in it, so we added that in the name. And we also have those two on Thursday mornings as well. Tomorrow morning, so this might be past by the time you get to see this, we have additional matinees of One World, One Sky and Mayan Archaeoastronomy, but in this case, those two are presented in Spanish. So that's a wonderful thing if you're able to get to it. But either way, we got a lot of programs happening. The rest of the time, we do have field trips. So if you're running a day camp class in the summer, we're mostly filled up, but you might still be able to find some times for a field trip. If you give us a call, we can work on setting that up with you. We also do have telescope rentals, and you can find that information on our website as well. And because we are short-staffed here for the summer, definitely call ahead to set up an appointment if you're going to do that. I think that about covers the stuff that I wanted to talk about before getting into the main topic. Let me go ahead and let me just show that beautiful video loop one more time while I hop around to the other thing that I wanted to show, because I didn't have that ready. Okay. Here we go. So, ESA Sky, I've been hinting around it. I was going to talk about it last week and ended up talking about some other stuff. ESA Sky is this wonderful website resource from European Space Agency. And wow, when you go to ESA Sky, if you just type it in directly, and I'm going to delete that to show you the address up here, it's sky.esa.int, and then that takes you to the current version of it. And every time you sign up, it takes you to a different object. And there's a welcome overlay. And it has you choose a mode. There's science mode and explorer mode. Now, we're going to hold off on science mode right now because that's it. There's so much going on, and it can take longer to load. We're going to go to explorer mode. And up in the upper left-hand corner, we can hit the random button. Ooh, that's pretty. That takes us to different objects. Look at that. The beehive cluster gets a description right over my head there. I love the beehive cluster. The springtime sky, it's in the very faint constellation of Cancer. And so when I look for it, I sort of look for it not too far from the stars of Leo the Lion, which are easier for me to see. There we go. And with binoculars, you're not going to see that many stars, but look as I zoom out, you see how it's just a neat little grouping. And with telescope or binoculars, it's just a cute grouping of stars. Now I'm zooming out deliberately Oh, there's Leo the lion. Look at that. I can't really, this doesn't let you connect constellations, but for checking out different sky objects. For instance, over here in Leo, I'm just scrolling around and look at that. I found my favorite set of 3 galaxies, the triplets there. And that's just so much fun. I think I remember talking about that with an earlier version of ESA Sky a couple years ago when we were closed and could only communicate through online presentations. Now, something that is up here in the corner, we could use different sky backgrounds with a variety of wavelengths of light. These are different sky surveys, and they don't have as much. So I'm scrolling all the way out for the whole sky. You're limited to patches where data has been gathered on those different wavelengths. I'll go to radio. I know radio has, wow. Okay, that's very, very, very loud. Forgot it was going to be that bright. All right, I'm going back to optical, and under optical, there are different options, and you can play with those yourself. The Mellinger color has not as high resolution as the DSS survey, but still you can get a sense of what's going on. I'm going to go back to the default. There we go. And I'm going to show, let's go over to right next to my favorite star. My favorite star is the orange red star Antares, which means not Mars, and I like it because it looks a lot like Mars. And there's a globular cluster nearby. There's, well, one that's even closer, but I'm looking at this one here, which you can see with the binoculars if the sky is clear enough. And I'm going to go up here to, you'll notice, let me scroll over. Let me move this over. There we go. There are a couple of buttons. Now, if you're using ESA Sky, your colors are all going to be very different. I'm using a forced dark mode on my browsers, and that means that that little Webb icon doesn't show up, the James Webb Telescope icon, but the Hubble telescope icon does. And I know for a fact that if I click on it, it will show you a bunch of boxes around that globular cluster. Globular clusters, because they're kind of globe-shaped, as how these stars are gravitationally bound, and these things hang out on the outskirts of galaxies, and they have some of the oldest stars. And when it says Hubble outreach images, these aren't just images that were taken by the Hubble Space Telescope, but images taken from other telescopes, ground-based telescopes, what have you, that were used as part of news releases alongside Hubble images. And so that's why these are Hubble outreach images. It's certainly not all of the Hubble images through the Explorer mode on ESA Sky. Well, let me go ahead and click on the top one on the list, and you see that it shows this wonderful Hubble image in the information in the, well, let's see, upper right. I can click on show more, and in this case there's a little bit more. I could, if I wanted to, go ahead and click to go to open a new web tab to go to the Hubble news release where they talked more about the image. I can zoom in, very lovely. I could also fade it out if I want to change the opacity. Here we go. Make it more opaque, see-through. There we go. There are additional sub boxes, but before I do that, I want to go down to this, click on this picture. This is one of those ground-based images where you can compare what's going on. And this one was from, okay, yeah, it just gives the credit to from which ground-based observatories. Sorry, not as close to this monitor in this room. I think there's another, no, not that one. There's another image that I was going to be looking for. See if I can find it. I just have to start going through all of them. There we go. So this is the another ground-based that includes the one we just saw, but actually I'm not, yeah, this is from Kit Peak, so it shows this is the one that I was looking for originally. And now if I go to see the difference, zoom in, and now I'm going to show that Hubble image. So we see the difference. Huge difference. So this is a lot of fun to be able to play around with. And I also enjoy looking at differences between Hubble images and Webb images too. And this leads me to my next demonstration, my next part of the demonstration. And I don't know if you remember, if you saw one of the earlier live streams where I checked out some of my favorite websites, and this is esaweb.org. So again, the ESA folks, and a lot of the releases from the James Webb Telescope go here. There are other sites, of course, like webtelescope.org, but I'm specifically using this one because it matches similar to the ESA Hubble site. And there we have a whole bunch. Let's see if I just do view all and go by date. Sorry, I've got that forced dark mode, so some of the some of the backgrounds are reversed into white, which I really don't want to look at. So I'm going to scoot over to an older, I set this up ahead of time. This is an older Hubble image. And you might remember this, the Pillars of Creation. This is a close-up of part of the Eagle Nebula. And there were so many print posters made of this. And this does go way back. This image here released onto the website in 2015, but this the image, I don't remember the exact date, but it goes way earlier than that. There was a newer one that was released at that time, which is why the original was shown on 2015, of a newer, much higher resolution with detectors that were installed later in the Hubble cycle, and gives nice description, just beautiful on that, so much more detail. And the reason I chose the Pillars of Creation, the close-up of the Eagle Nebula, for that was because it was also recently, last late fall, imaged by the James Webb Space Telescope. Absolutely beautiful. Now on these pages, there's lots of great information. I don't know if it's on the, probably not on the, yeah, it is. Okay, they do have it on the ESA Hubble one as well. If you scroll down on those pages, you get information on the colors and the filters. So it gives you whether it was an optical image or an infrared image, and it tells you which of the detectors, which bands were used, and certainly which telescope. I'm going to go up to the more recent Hubble image, and they give the wavelengths. And now if I go over to the, oops, there we go, to the Webb telescope, we see that there were a lot of images, filters combined, because they used the mid-infrared and the near-infrared and combined the two of them. And so we've got all these different wavelengths combined with different colors assigned to them. If you like, you can view these images in what's called Worldwide Telescope, which I'll admit I don't use it that much. I'll go ahead and open the link, although I haven't practiced this one, and see if I can. I don't even know. There it is. Okay. So this is Worldwide Telescope, which is similar to ESA Sky in some ways. It has a lot more capabilities in other ways. As far as I know, it's only through the web. There is, I believe, a downloadable version for Windows desktops. I honestly haven't done much with Worldwide Telescope in quite some time, but I just want you to be aware that that's another fun tool to explore. Let me close back out of it though. But what I wanted to show was the link to ESA Sky. So I'm just going to go ahead and click straight to it, clicking straight through. Probably should have opened it as a tab, but that's okay. And usually what it does is it opens you to that image, and I see that it did not. So I'm very sad by that. I'm going to go back to where I was, and I'm going to go to it on the Hubble link. This worked this morning when I tried it. It's thinking. It's thinking. Okay, so it went there, and that's great. That's what I was looking for. And up here, this is where if I switch to the web images, I can then find those same images that I was trying to load from. Like I said, I practiced it from the Hubble site, but not from the website. Go back to the Hubble images. So this is the the original Pillars of Creation. The new view that we also saw is from the Hubble. Sometimes they'll cross link. So the Hubble outreach images is also going to show some of the ones from Webb, and this is the case on here as well. Incredible the amount of information. I'm just using the left mouse button to pan around on it, and the middle mouse button to zoom in and out. So this is just tremendous fun, being able to see the different images that are available. So let's see. So this is just the near infrared, not the mid infrared. Switch over to the mid infrared. So there's the mid infrared. So this is the one mid infrared for MIRI, and near infrared for near cam, and then the one where they have them combined. So there's the combined view. So this is a great example where you could see the detectors separately and then see them together. And then you can hop over and compare the Hubble image. So a lot of fun things. If you are interested in taking deeper dives into what ESA Sky can do, that's where science mode comes in. So over here in the upper right, so right up there, there's the science mode and explorer mode toggles. So I've just enabled science mode. You'll notice that the up here where it just showed the Hubble and the Webb, we have now the capability for seeing image observations, catalog data for everything in the region, and spectra and light curve data for this region. This is, when I say science mode, it's very what I would call science-y. I'm scrolling out with the wheel, and as I do that, I can then zoom in on other regions, and it recalculates how much data is available for these regions of the sky. So let me go back over to where we were. I'm not sure necessarily what's available. I haven't really looked at this too much. And let's say you did want to investigate a particular object in the sky. I'm just leaving it here on the Eagle Nebula since we're already there. You could then click on the image observations for this region. And I do apologize for it not being in focus. This is a result of the dark mode enforcement on computers that are not set up like this. It's more readable. So you've got HST optical, you've got the James Webb telescope, you've got Hubble in the different wavelengths, and then other space telescopes like Spitzer and Herschel and Chandra, and just there's a lot. You could also narrow down to here I'm just wanting to see the radio, and that limits the observations there that are available. I haven't planned this out, so let's just see Spitzer. And now down below it pulls up and shows, okay, there isn't any Spitzer available. So I'll just go to the, I'll go to Hubble Optical, close out the Spitzer one. Now down here it lists there are images and other types of observation. These are the images, and you can preview. These are raw images mostly, so they're not going to be real pretty. They're not going to be, I mean, some of them are going to be pretty, but it's going to be what you would work from if you were doing, research. These are the types of things that you start off with after the observations. I'm just scrolling down and clicking the preview button that's down here. So you can download the images and or data sets and play with them, learn something, and total amount will only show them. Yeah, that'll come up after a while. So let's say you do want to learn more about, you've clicked around, you've seen, okay, there's some weird things, and hey, what are these strange light curves? I don't know what's going on here. And some of them don't have preview data, some of them do. Let's say you want to learn more. There's this is sort of the homepage for the ESA Sky stuff, actually a lot of ESA stuff. And this is getting started with ESA Sky. And if you want to watch YouTube videos for using it in Explorer mode and then using it in Science mode, and that's a good guide. There's also this page, which is ESA Sky for Education, which is a good place to jump to next after getting started. And it has some sample activities that you can follow through. There are student guides and teacher guides, because these are set up for people to use for classrooms, but you can definitely do this on your own. Have them in English and Spanish. And I'll show an example of that. We've got the Galaxy guide. So this is really hard for me to look at right now. Let me just, there we go. Okay. So you follow through the activity, and this is all about galaxies. You get questions you can answer, but it is great for finding your way through it. And also if you want to see the teacher's guide and get some information out of it that way. Again, I definitely suggest that if you're going through it on your own, go ahead and make use of both the student guides and the teacher guides. There are additional scientific tutorials, that's another link that I will put through here, that are definitely meant more for college age, or if you're super into it. And it's free. You just go to it here and you download the materials. They're PDFs and links to some videos. And then there's some other resources as well that you might be interested in. So certainly, I know I ran, oh, well, just now we're running over on time. Now we're running over on time. Okay, but I made it in time otherwise. But I hope you'll check them out, and I'm going to make sure to go ahead and I've got them ready to copy and paste. The links to all of these things are right here, going to be right here below in the show notes. So I hope you enjoyed it, and leave a comment if it's been of any interest.